Hello, welcome to History 101 with me, your host, Doomsday. Tonight I'll be talking about who, what, when, and how the horror industry started. I will be going over some of my favorite actors and some authors, so join me, Doomsday, as I take you inside the history of horror. Let's say hello to the people in here. Let's see, who do we got? Who do we got? Otis, hello. PBDC TV, hello. Psycho Mansion 13, hey, welcome. Psycho Bunny DC and Psycho Bunny Death Cult. Rootsweed Red, hello. We got Doomsday in the house. I'm in the house. Don, what it do, homie? Tom Nally, what's up? Psycho Mansion 13, yo. All right, let's kick this off. So, horror films, motion picture calculated to cause intense repugnance, fear, or dread. Horror films may incorporate incidents of physical violence and psychological terror. They may be studies. They may be studies of deformed, disturbed, psychotic, or evil characters, stories of terrifying monsters or malevolent animals, or mystery thrillers that use atmosphere to build suspense. The genre often overlaps science fiction and film noir. Hi, Damon. How's it going, man? Will, dude, you showed up, bro. What's up? Yeah. By the way, Will Martinez, he's a good friend of mine. He he's into the movies and stuff. So, yeah. Let's get back here real quick. In the earliest horror films, which were influenced by German expressionist cinema, the effect of horror was usually created by means of macabre atmosphere and theme. The Student of Prague, 1913, an early German film dealing with a dual personality, and The Golem, 1915, based on medieval Jewish legend of clay figure that comes to life, were the first influential horror films. In the 1920s, such as German films as The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari of 1920, Nosferatu, the first filming of the Dracula story in 1922, and Waxworks 1924 were known throughout the world. In the United States, a number of outstanding horror films were produced in the 1920s. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of 1920 became a classic of silent screen. The Lon Chaney terrified audiences as The Hunchback of Notre Dame 1923 and The Phantom of the Opera of 1925. The Cat and the Canary 1927 was an atmospheric thriller set in a fog-shrouded house honeycombed with secret passages. Hi, Genevieve. Hi, Natalie. I see you there. The great popular success of Dracula, made in the United States in 1931, Frankenstein 1931, and The Mummy 1932, led to a long series of successful horror films, including King Kong of 1932 and The Black Cat of 1934. Among some of the best-known horror classics of this period are The Werewolf of London 1935 and The Wolfman of 1941, The Cat People of 1942. The influence of science fiction can be seen in horror films of the 1950s about monsters from other planets. The Thing, 1951, and Mutations of Ordinary Animals, Them, 1954. Japanese studios released monster films such as Gojira, or aka Godzilla, and Randon, 1956. While British companies such as Hammer Films shifted the emphasis from atmospheric terror to scenes of bloody violence in motion pictures such as The Curse of Frankenstein of 1957 and The Horror of Dracula 1958. Sophisticated films of the mystery thriller type, such as Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho in 1960 and Roman Polanski's Repulsion 1965, continue to be made Over time of horror film genre came to be represented by several subgenres, including films about the supernatural, such as The Exorcist in 1973. Yeah, who remembers The Exorcist? God damn, that movie was crazy. And The Shining of 1980. The psycho slasher films, perhaps the best represented by John Carpenter's Halloween of 1978, and the science fiction thrillers such as Ridley Scott's Alien of 1979. The popularity of B-grade, low-budget horror films grew with the introduction in the 1970s of videocassette and cable television. So let's look here. The Crab Walk is where it's at. There goes Tokyo. Hell yeah. Blue Oyster Cult, baby. Liz says, also, my name Reagan shirt is better than anyone else's shirt ever. And I've seen it. It's funny. Tom says, I personally think that the horror films of the 1970s and especially the 80s were friggin' awesome. Even the cheesiest B movies. Yeah, they were. So let's get into a little bit to the actors and filmmakers and stuff. And, of course, authors and stuff. So we're going to go on with Stephen Edwin King. You may know him from a few movies and novels. American author of horror, supernatural fiction, suspense, crime, science fiction, and fantasy novels. His books have sold more than 350 million copies, to which many have been adapted into films, television series, miniseries, and comic books. King has published 62 novels, including 7 under the pen name Richard Bachman, and 5 nonfiction books. He also had written approximately 200 short stories, which most of which have been published into book collections. King made a couple of movies that I personally loved as a child and still do today. Maximum Overdrive, It, and The Lawnmower Man. Who remembers The Lawnmower Man? Oh, Farmer says that he met Stephen King. That's nice, man. And Otis laughing. Who's that? Liz says Frank's not here, man. Hey, man, Frank's not here. Hey. King has received the Bram Stoker Award, World Fantasy Awards, and the British Fantasy Society Awards. In 2003, the National Book Foundation awarded him the Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. He has also received awards for his contribution to literature for his entire bibliography, such as the 2004 World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement and the 2007 Grand Master Award for the Mystery Writers of America. In 2015, he was awarded with the National Medal of Arts from the U.S. National Endowment for the Arts for his contributions to literature. He has been described as the King of Horror, a play on his surname and a reference to his high standing in pop culture. Let's see here. Farmer Damon Baird says, I met King in Maine. Liz says, a big turtle that is the protector of children. Okay. Tom Nally says, love the movie. Yeah, I used to have Lawnmower Man on VHS. To be honest, I had it on VHS, and I had a recording of the Tommyknockers. That was another favorite of mine with Stephen King, was the Tommyknockers, and of course, you know, It, and yeah, Jillian High. Okay, so let's go on to William Henry Pratt. Now, how many of y'all know him? William Henry Pratt. Let's see. Take a guess. Take a guess. William Henry Pratt. Who is he? Okay. Nobody knows who he is? Okay. William Henry Pratt, known by his stage name, Boris Karloff. Primarily known for his roles in horror films, he portrayed Frankenstein's monster in Frankenstein of 1931, Bride of Frankenstein 1935, and Son of Frankenstein in 1939. He also appeared as Imhotep in The Mummy of 1932. Hey, see, Tom got it right. Boris Karloff, yeah. In non-horror roles, he is best known to modern audiences for narrating and as the voice of the Grinch. So yes, he was the voice of the Grinch in the animated television special of Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Dr. Seuss rocks, man. Fuck anybody that tries to cancel Dr. Seuss. Anyhow, for his contribution to the films and television, Karloff was awarded 2-star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on February 8, 1960. Karloff was credited for editing several horror anthologies commercing with Tales of Terror, Cleveland and New York, World Publishing Company, 1943. Compiled with the help of Edmund Speer, this wartime published anthology went through at least 5 printings to September 1945. It has been reprinted recently in Orange County, Orange, New Jersey, Idea Men of 2007. Karloff's name was also attached to And the Darkness Falls and the Boris Karloff Horror Anthology. Okay. He oh, this is long. He London Souvenir Press of 1965, my bad. Simultaneous publications in Canada, Toronto, the Ryerson Press, US PBK reprint, New York. Avon Books, 1965, retitled as Boris Karloff's Favorite Horror Stories. UK PBK reprints London, Corgis, 1969, and London, Everest, 1975, both under the original title. Though it is less clear whether Karloff himself actually edited these. Tales of the Frightened, Belmont Books, 1963, though based on the recordings by Karloff of the same title and featuring his image on the book covers, contains stories written by Michael Avalon. The second volume, More Tales of the Frightened, contained stories authored by Robert Laurie. Okay. Okay, Damon says Boris Karloff starred in Voodoo Island. Yes, correct. Hey, what's going on, Calvin? Welcome. Okay, I lost my place. Okay, both Avalon and Laurie worked closely with Canadian editor and book packager Lyle Kenyon Engel, who also ghost edited a horror story anthology for horror films star Basil Rathbone. Robert Barton England. Actor, singer, and director, best known for playing the fictional serial killer Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. He received a Saturn Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors in 1987 and a Nightmare on Elm Street 4 Dream Master in 1988, and won a Fanta Festival Award for the Mangler in 1995. England is a classically trained character. Oh, wow. That was a tongue twister. England was briefly considered for a part in the 1977 film Star Wars. Who would have known? Can you imagine Robert Englund playing in Star Wars? That would be freaking hilarious, man. Just, I don't know. I couldn't imagine Robert Englund playing on Star Wars. Englund appeared in 1977 film Eaten Alive, directed by Tobe Hooper. He then played Ranger in Galaxy of Terror, produced by Roger Corman, which was released in 1981. Since then, Englund has made over 100 appearances on films and television. In his early film roles, England was usually typecast as a nerd or a redneck. Yeah, henceforth. Yes, Robert England was in V. Exactly, Tom Nally. who, what? Hold on. Otis says, fuck Dawkins. We're the Dream Warriors. You know what I was listening to? Not where was it? Oh, I think it was on Otis's show. I heard that Dawkins was doing some shit with Freddy's knife glove. Anyhow, where was I now? Okay. He first gained attention in the role of visitor technician and resident fighter Willie in the 1983 miniseries V. Yeah, the guy from V. As well as 1984 sequel V, The Final Battle, and V, the series, in which he was a regular cast member. Now I'm going to tell you a little something. If you look at one of the movies of Wishmaster, Robert Englund plays on Wishmaster. So look it up. Look it up. Robert Englund played on Wishmaster. I don't remember which part, but I know he played on one of the Wishmaster movies. After such typecasting, Englund went against the type when he accepted the role of Freddy Krueger, the psychotic burn victim and child murderer in Wes Craven's hugely successful A Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984. That was Englund and Eaten Alive. Oh, nice. His association in the genre led him to top billed roles in Phantom of the Opera, 1989, The Mangler in 1995, another film directed by Tobe Hooper, and 2001 Maniacs in 2005. Now, if any of y'all seen 2001 Maniacs, holy crap. that movie's really gross. Hi, Connor. Freddy's glove makes an appearance in Evil Dead 2. Yes, it does. And it also Freddy Krueger comes out on what's that Friday the 13th movie, Jason's Dead or whatever. I don't even remember but I know he made an appearance where his hand comes up and he's like grabs Jason and takes him to hell and stuff. Yeah. So he reprised his role as Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, 1985. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, 1987, and A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, which I watched that movie and it was, I don't know what to say about it. It's kind of cheesy. But then he came back in Wes Craven's New Nightmare in 1994. And Freddy vs. Jason. Yes, Jason Goes to Hell, Tom Nally. There we go. I couldn't for the love of it remember it at the moment. Jillian says, doesn't he make an appearance on Freddy vs. Jason? Yeah. I'm about to smoke some weed here soon. I wish I could. Damon Baird says, Freddy versus Jason. Jason Goes to Hell. Yes. Don Black, cheesy but delicious. Dang it, Don. Don't you ever stop thinking about cheese, bacon, and chicken? I'm just joking with you. All right. So now that we talked about Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger, we're going to get into something else. We're going to get into Wesley Earl Craven now. Yeah. An American film director, screenwriter, and producer, he was known for his pioneering work in the horror genre, particularly slasher films, where he mixed horror cliches with humor and satire. His impact on the genre was considered prolific and highly influential due to the success of cultural impact of his works. Craven has been called a master of horror and is best known for creating a Nightmare on Elm Street franchise from 1984 to 2010, featuring the characters Freddy Krueger and Nancy Thompson, and the Scream franchise. Yes, he did do Scream from 1996 to 2011, featuring Ghostface and Sidney Prescott. Hello, Sidney. His other notable films include The Last House on the Left. Oh my God. That's a messed up movie. And The Hills Have Eyes. He also did Swamp Thing in 1982, The Serpent and the Rainbow in 1988, Shocker in 1989, People Under the Stairs of 1991, Vampire in Brooklyn 1995, Music of the Heart 1999, and Red Eye 2005. Craven's final film was Scream 4 in 2011. Craven was born in Cleveland, Ohio, son of Caroline and Paul Eugene Craven. He was raised in a strict Baptist family. Craven earned an undergraduate degree in English and psychology from Wheaton College in Illinois and a master's degree in philosophy and writing from Johns Hopkins University. Otis, The Hills Have Boobies. Boobs. Side boobs. I live under. Oh God, a little bit. Yes, Natalie, The Hills Have Eyes was pretty brutal, especially when the killing scenes and stuff. Oh my God, those were yeah, they're pretty brutal. Craven briefly taught English at Westminster College and was a humanities professor at Clarkson College of Technology, later named Clarkson University, in Potsdam, New York. He additionally taught at Madrid Waddington High School in Madrid, New York. During this time, he purchased a used 16mm film camera and began making short movies. When his friend Steve Chapin informed him of a messenger position at the New York City Film Production Company, where his brother, future folk rock star Harry Chapin, worked, Craven moved into the building where his friend Steve Chapin lived at 136 Hicks Street in Brooklyn Heights. His first creative job in the film industry was as a sound editor. So Dizzy Buyer, I won't watch The Hills Have Eyes. That's how my family started out in the backwoods. Oh, ho, ho! Otis, last booby on the left. So Christopher Bay Stormbringer said, what? I worked with Wes Craven's daughter on Pocahontas US, voted worst horror movie ever. Huh. I've never heard of it. Recalling his early training, Craven said in 1994, Harry was a fantastic film editor and producer of industrials. He taught me the Chapin method of editing. Nuts and bolts, get rid of the shit. Craven afterwards became the film's assistant manager and broke into film editing with You've Got to Walk It Like You Talk It, or You'll Lose That Beat in 1971. Sadly, Wes Craven passed away on August 30th of 2015 at the age of 76. Craven died of a brain tumor at his home in Los Angeles on August 30th, 2015, 4 weeks after his 76th birthday. Many actors paid tribute to him, including David Arquette, Johnny Depp, Adrienne Barbeau, Angela Bassett, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Robert Englund, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jamie Kennedy, Rose McGowan, Christy Swanson, and Amanda Weiss. The 10th episode of the horror series Scream was dedicated in his memories. Oh, this house of 1,000 boobies. Liz says, sounds like the Chicago Ripper crew. Oh. Another actor in the horror genre. Some of you might have seen him on HBO. He scared the living shit out of me back then. I remember at times I would I would hear the theme song and I would quickly run to my room. I'm like, fuck this, I'm not gonna watch that. John Kassir, aka the Crypt Keeper. John Kassir is known for his work as the voice of the Crypt Keeper in HBO's Tales from the Crypt franchise. Tales from the Crypt, sometimes titled HBO's Tales from the Crypt, is an American horror anthology television series that ran from June 10th, 1989 to July 19th, 1996. On the premium cable channel HBO for 7 seasons with a total of 93 episodes. The title, based on the 1950s EC comic series of the same name, most of the content originated in that comic or the other EC comics of the time. The Haunt of Fear, The Vault of Horror, crime suspense stories, shock suspense stories, and Two-Fisted Tales. The show was produced by HBO because it was aired on HBO, a premium cable television channel. It was allowed to have full freedom from censorship by network standards and practices. As a result, HBO allowed the series to include content that had not appeared in most television series up to that time, such as graphic violence, profanity, sexual activity, and nudity. Farmer says, Carpenter was another badass of horror. Yes, he was. John Carpenter was a badass of horror. So we come to our last and final actress. I know everybody's going to be hooting and hollering around here, so I bring you Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira. Giddy up, Also known as Elvira, she's a fantastic and very sexy actor in my book. Peterson gained fame on Los Angeles television station KHJ-TV, wearing a revealing black gothic cleavage enhancing gown as a host of Elvira's Movie Macabre, a weekly B-movie presentation inspired by Ann-Margret in the film Viva Las Vegas. While on a trip to Las Vegas, Nevada, during high school, she convinced her parents to let her see a live show, whereupon she was noticed by the production staff. Despite being only 17 years old, she convinced her parents to let her sign a contract. Immediately after graduating high school, she drove back to Las Vegas, where she became a showgirl in Frederick Apcar's pioneering Vive les Girls. Let's see, Mistress. Oh, yeah, Otis. She was the mistress of the boobies. Boobs. So, at the Dunes, here, she met Elvis Presley. Y'all know that she dated Elvis Presley for a while, right? Whom she had gone on a date with. She had a small role as a showgirl in the James Bond film Diamonds Are Forever in 1971, and played a topless dancer in the film The Working Girls in 1974. She also purportedly posed for the cover of Tom Waits' album Small Change. 1976, Peterson had since described it as a giant mystery, claiming that while she has no memory of the event, the picture looks like her and she feels pretty sure it is her. So Christopher Psychomantium says she also did some great nude spreads. I've never seen those, but holy hell, if you have them, let me see them. Christopher Stormbringer says, what does he say here? Hold on. Graceland is a trip. Never been there. And Otis says, blue suede boobies. Don Black says, bobs and veggies. Okay. In the early 1970s, Peterson moved to Italy and became lead singer of the Italian rock band Latin's 80 and the Snails. Introduced to film director Federico Fellini by the producer of a documentary on Las Vegas showgirls in which she had appeared. She landed a small part in the film Roma 1972 back in the United States. She toured nightclubs, discos around the country with a music comedy act, Mama's Boys. In 1979, she joined the Los Angeles-based improvisational troupe, the Groundlings, where she created a Valley Girl type character upon whom the Elvira persona is largely based on. Peterson auditioned for the role of Ginger Grant for the third Gilligan's Island television movie in 1981, shortly before KHJ-TV offered her the horror host position. Peterson also was a personality on Los Angeles radio station KROQ-FM 106.7 from 1982 to 1983. In the late spring of 1981, 6 years after the death of Larry Vincent, who starred as host Sinister Seymour of a Los Angeles weekend horror show called The Fright Night, show producers began to bring the show back. The producers decided to use a female host. They asked 1950s horror hostess Malia Nurumi to revive the Vampira show. Nurumi worked on the project for a short time, but quit when the producers would not hire Lola Flana to play Vampira. The station sent out a casting call, and Peterson auditioned and won the role. Producers left it up to her to create the role's image. She had her best friend Robert Redding come up with the sexy punk vampire look after producers rejected her original idea to look like Sharon Tate's character in the Fearless Vampire Killers. Okay, let's see what the comments have here. Okay. Otis, Valley of the Boobies. You said boobs. Shortly before the first taping, producers received a cease and desist letter from Nurmi. Besides the similarities in the format and costumes, Elvira's closing line for each show, wishing her audience unpleasant dreams, was notably similar to Vampira's closer "Bad dreams, darlings," uttered as she walked off down a misty corridor. The court ruled in favor of Peterson, holding that likeness means actual representation of another person's appearance, and not simply close resemblance. Peterson claimed that Elvira was nothing like Vampira aside from the basic design of the black dress and the black hair. Nurmi claimed that Vampira's image was based on Morticia Addams, a character in Charles Addams cartoons that appeared in the New Yorker magazine. Peterson's Elvira character rapidly gained notice with her tight-fitting, low-cut, cleavage-displaying black gown. Oh my God, that's very detailed. Adopting the flippant tone of the California Valley Girl, she brought a satirical, sarcastic edge to her commentary. She revealed in dropping risque double entendres and making frequent jokes about her cleavage. In an AOL Entertainment News interview, Peterson said, "I figured out that Elvira is me when I was a teenager. She's such a plastic girl. I just say what I feel, and people seem to enjoy it. Her campy humor, sex appeal, and good-natured self-mockery made her popular with late-night movie viewers. Her popularity soared." Psycho Mansion 13 says, "Her two big pumpkins." The Elvira character soon evolved from an obscure cult figure to a lucrative brand. She was associated with many products through the 1980s and 90s, including Halloween costume, comic books, action figures, trading cards, pinball machines, Halloween decor, model kits, calendars, perfume, and dolls. She appeared on the cover of Femme Fatale's magazine 5 times. Farmer Damon says, before I go, Elvira also did 2 or 3 episodes of Chips. Huh! Wow, there's something I didn't know. She also played on Cheech and Chong on, Cheech and Chong. She did play on Cheech and Chong. Oh.
Dan has 2 books. I like Popeyes.
Had to do it. Well, now, her popularity reached its zenith with the release of the 1988 film Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, on whose script, written directly for the screen, Peterson collaborated with John Paragon and Sam Egan. After several years of attempts to make a sequel to Elvira's Mistress of the Dark, Cassandra and her manager and the then husband Mark Pearson decided to finance a second movie. In November of 2000, Peterson wrote, again in collaboration with Paragon, and co-produced Elvira's Haunted Hills, which the film was shot in Romania just under $1 million, with little budget left for promotion. Cassandra and Mark screened the films at AIDS charity fundraiser across America. For many people in attendance, this was their first opportunity to see the woman behind Elvira's character. On July 5th of 2002, Elvira's Haunted Hills had its official premiere in Hollywood. Elvira arrived at the premiere in her Macabre Mobile, which is a badass car. Really badass car, her Macabre Mobile. The film was later screened at the 2003 Cannes Film Festival. In September 2010, Elvira's movie Macabre returned to TV syndications in the U.S., this time with Public Domain Films. In October 2014, it was revealed that the new series of 13 episodes had been produced, 13 Nights of Elvira, for Hulu. The show began on October 9th, 2014, running through Halloween. Peterson is currently working on the direct sequel to 1988's Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, as well as an animated Elvira project. And that, my friends, is the show for tonight. Don't forget to follow and like all the content artists here in the collective, like Odd Mother, Cemetery Joe and the Cemetery Kids, Chaos and Squeaks, The Shide Show, Stray Hair, Night of the Living Dreads, that's Dreads without the A in it, Jugs and Beast Unright, The Metal Show, Psychic Cindy, Jillian and Genevieve, and many more. Also, like and follow Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Bunny DC, Psycho Mantium 13, Roots Bleed Red, PBDC TV, and I have my own page as well. It's facebook.com/doomsday1985. Many thanks to Liz and Frank for helping me out with production. Thank you, good night, and I'll see you next Monday for History 101.
This is Mr. Applewhite speaking. There is nothing wrong with your device. Join me here on Psycho Bunny DC. A delightfully dreadful consternation of horror content. Your head and free your mind.
It's that time, kids. Hold on to your heads. Join Psychomantium 13. Each week for thrills, chills, and a horrific good time. Don't lose your head. Join Psychomantium 13 and enter the weird.